Hey guys, hey, welcome back to Truth, Trust, and Trajectory with your girl Shakim B. Today, I am really excited to introduce my guest speaker. I had the privilege of speaking with her, and I absolutely adore her and her story, her journey through trauma to triumph. So basically, the title of this is Raw Journey Through Abuse, Survival, and Redemption. And so much of his story aligns with, my own story, which is why I hold such a dear space for her and my heart. So I want you guys to keep watching. I'm going to be introducing my friend, Lady V. All right, we on. Hey. All right, so can you just introduce yourself to the audience and then just tell us a little bit about your background, your story?
Hey, I will be definitely glad to do that. Hey, welcome. I am Lady V. I am Tawana Elliott. I am a spiritual release coach, which means that I teach individuals how to roar in their greatness. I am a spiritual release coach. I am an author. I am an author consultant. I am a lupus advocate. I am a podcast host. I do a lot of different things, but my main passion is to teach individuals how to roar in their greatness, how to release the old narratives and the old baggage and the limited beliefs, which we have a lot of, and how to overcome the obstacles that stand in our way from making us be great. And then how to awaken the rebel that's just waiting to come out, bust loose, ready to shine bright like a diamond and just say, hey, here I am. I'm presenting myself to the world. And then when you do that, you got to rise to the occasion, right? So that's what I do. I teach individuals how to roar in their greatness because I come from an abusive background. And it was really hard for me to overcome my trauma until I learned how to love me because that was my biggest thing. I didn't know how to love me properly. I didn't know how to love me unconditionally. And I had to learn how to love me the way God loves me, and that's unconditionally. And once I started to do that, then I started to actually walk in my greatness, walk in my journey to know that I was even worth it, that I was enough. Because for so long, I've been told that I wasn't enough. I've been told that I wasn't worthy. I've been told that nobody would want to listen. Nobody would want to, rock with me. Nobody's gonna take your course. Nobody's gonna read your book. Nobody's gonna hear your story. Nobody's gonna, you know. And so I heard that for so long that I just started to believe it. And that's what we do as individuals. We start believing the limited beliefs, the things that people say that we not.
Yeah.
And I was one of them people. At the age of 8, I was being molested. So I always say I was running from the monsters inside my house,
Mhm.
which, because if I wasn't being molested, I was being beat on. And so I couldn't run from either one of them, but I tried so many times. And then at the age of 10, I was really just put out to the point where I was so angry at the time. I just wanted to die. I wanted to kill everybody. I just didn't know which way to go because I was frustrated. And at that time, I come from an era where it's what happens in this house stays in this house.
Mhm.
So we at that age we're being silent where we're told that we can't talk. We're told we're to be seen, not heard, and so that's really how it was where adults didn't want to listen to kids because you was just a child. What do you know? And
Yeah,
in reality, we have to be mindful that we really do need to listen to our children because a lot of times our kids are smarter than what we give them credit for.
exactly. Exactly. And I feel like, just going a bit on off of what you said, you find that, more it's not just like back then versus now. Like it literally happens all of the time. And it's really unfortunate. Like even with I just saw something recently with one of the sprinkle girls, and what happened with what I'm talking about, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, it's really unfortunate that children do get silenced in that way. And then, that's like a baggage that you carry throughout your entire life because you really do
Exactly.
like when you said, like, you start believing all of these horrible things that are not even
Mhm.
true. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're literally projections from somebody else that hasn't figured their shit out yet. So,
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where I was for so long. I was just living a life of a lie.
mhm,
And so I had to literally unlearn all the bad and all the foolishness and all the shit that really didn't even matter. I had
yeah,
to really overcome that and say, you know what, here I am. I am better. I know who I am now. And
mhm,
that was hard for me because I didn't. And so many times, when people say introduce yourself, who are you? We get caught in the headlights because we really don't know who we are until we
yeah,
really find out who we are, until we start taking that journey to understand who we are authentically. Because a lot of times we hide behind the cloth, we hide behind the certificates and the degrees and the titles. We hide behind all of that, and in reality, we still don't know who we are. And so until I learned who I was a nobody.
yeah,
And I believed everything that everybody told me, which was I was a nobody.
mhm,
And so I had to understand and learn that I'm everything. I'm everybody because I'm created in his image. And
exactly.
so there's no way in the world you can tell me that I'm not great. But until I started to believe that, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's crazy the way, words, the effects that they have on people's minds. Like, I tell my kids all the time, ultimately, I can tell you what a great, wonderful person you are and how beautiful I think you are and what, all of the positive things that I see. But if that's not what you fundamentally believe,
Hmm.
then it doesn't matter how many people can come to you and tell you these great things. And, even
Exactly.
more so, the level of damage from the, childhood trauma, that really does fuck with your programming. You know what
It
I mean?
does.
So it's like you have on one side, you have this, not the best perspective of yourself, and maybe a handful of people will come and they'll be like, hey, like, so see the light in you. And you're like, okay.
Where?
you know?
What you're
Yeah.
talking about? What like? You
Yeah.
yeah, you'd be looking like, why do you see these things? And how do you see
Yeah.
these things
Yeah.
when I've tried to show these things so many times to everybody else and nobody sees it? And then we have to start remembering and understanding that a lot of times we want the people that don't see it, that don't want to see it, they really do, but they don't like it, and they really
Yeah.
don't want to see it. Them are the people that we want to see it.
Want to, oh my
And the
God,
people
we try to
that
convince
do
them.
see it, yeah,
Yeah.
and the people we
Don't
do see
believe
it, we be
them.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're so busy trying to project our greatness onto the people who really don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. And that can be it's very damaging in so many different ways. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
It
And I
is.
think until you get to a point of realization that, hey, like, this energy is not warranted in this direction. You know what I'm saying? So we're just gonna kind of cut our losses with that, and
Exactly.
that's a hard
And
lesson.
sometimes we have to.
Oh yeah, for
Oh
sure.
yeah. Oh
For
yeah.
sure. So I just wanted to kind of briefly touch on, like, the basically your foundation from, your experience as a child. How did that sculpt or form you for, like, your later years when you started looking for relationships? Whether you were looking for them or they were looking for you.
I was looking for somebody to save me.
Mm,
And that was the trauma that I was carrying, was to the point where I was running so fast and so hard that I was looking for someone to save me because I didn't know how to save myself. I was trying to get out of a bad situation and I needed somebody to save me, not understanding that all doing was running from trauma to trauma to trauma to trauma throughout the relationships that I was in because I
mhm.
didn't understand what was a good relationship.
Yeah.
And so if somebody gave me some type of attention, or if somebody tried to show me that they wanted to help me in any little type of way, even if they was really taking advantage of my vulnerability,
Mhm.
I was willing to accept it because I needed somebody to save me. And in
Yeah.
reality, could nobody save me but one person. Could
Yeah.
nobody save me but one person. And when God came and rescued me, I knew I had been saved. I knew I
Mm.
had been rescued because it felt different. It what they say, it hit different. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
It just wasn't
Mhm.
the same. It wasn't like I had been accustomed to what I had been used to.
Yeah.
It felt like a sigh of relief, like 500 pounds had just been lifted up off my shoulders
Mhm. Yeah.
when he
And
saved me.
so it's like in essence, like you, it seems like you felt like more. It's freeing. It's like a freeing feeling because you're literally like held captive and weighed down by those experiences and that
Exactly.
thought process. Like it's heavy.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, I kind of use something with my class, just saying basically that we don't understand that when we take on other things and we continue to hold into our drama, our mess, our trauma,
Mhm.
that it's like being in jail.
Yeah.
You know, we are literally, because I mean we're being handcuffed, we're being thrown in to something that we don't want, and that's jail.
Yeah.
And so I had to decide that I didn't want to be in jail. I don't like jail. I don't like handcuffs. I don't like steel. I'm don't want any of that. You know what
And
I'm
they don't
saying?
get the food I like there. So
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't want to be here. And so
exactly.
how do you get out of jail? You know, how do
Mhm.
and even when I was in jail, I wanted to know how I got out. And
Yeah.
so I had to realize that this is how I'm gonna have to get out of this jail, because I'm
Mhm.
in the jail in my mind, I'm in the jail in my soul, I'm in the jail in my spirit, I'm just in jail. I'm
Yeah.
being held captive, and I don't want to be here anymore because I
Yeah.
I like my freedom and I need my freedom, but how do I get to it?
Exactly.
Well, it definitely wasn't um anybody to save me, because they didn't save me. They made me stronger, but they didn't
Hmm.
save me.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's one of the things we were talking about before that we kind of like aligned with, just as far as like, past experiences and relationships. Like I remember being at one point where I was like, I never truly ever hated anyone, but I could say it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But I've never felt like,
Exactly.
oh, I hate this person. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why
Mhm.
that feeling it's never resonated like inside is because somewhere like I understand that you have to have like you have to hold a special space for all of the
Exactly.
people and all of the things. And that's one of the biggest ways to like truly be free. You know what I'm saying? Because they
Mhm.
don't have any
Mhm.
power over you. Instead, they teach you so much about yourself and your strength. And that's why I love like
Exactly.
the roar. Like we were talking about that, like, it's like I am woman, hear me roar. Like there's nothing you can
Yes.
possibly do to me, that's going to
Exactly.
stagnate or inhibit me from living to my fullest
Exactly.
potential, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
So um I guess some of the things, because we have like an array of things that we're talking about. I mean, it all like aligns really, but I was curious as to like when you talked about the trauma from like even childhood and before like you heard the call, like how did you cope with that trauma then?
I didn't. I didn't know how to.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I went on a literally a suicide mission because I wanted to die. I wanted to just, I didn't want to be here anymore. I couldn't figure out how to get out of my own way.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't coping with it at all. I was just going through life existing, not
Mhm.
living, just existing, just going through life day by day on a hamster wheel like so many of us do. We just fighting through the struggle to be
Exactly.
here. That's
Exactly.
it. That's all. And no one, and because in our culture and in our community, we're told that what happens in this house stays in this house.
Mhm.
But therapy isn't for us.
Mm. Yeah.
See, we're told that. We're told therapy ain't for you. Therapy ain't for us. We ain't supposed
Mhm.
to go to therapy. And it's sad because in reality, we the main ones need to be in therapy. you,
Exactly.
you, you
And
know,
really the the old way or saying of, a woman's strength for us as Black women, you our strength was accounted for how much shit we could take. Like, how
exactly.
much can you take? Like, I'm going to full on break you and, get back up, put yourself back together. You'll be all right, dust it off. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that is representative of what people think strength is. So, like,
Exactly.
for me, it's ultimately, I hate when, like, a man especially, please don't call me strong. Like, I take the utmost offense to that, because in like, I feel like you're looking at me like, okay, I can just do whatever to her, you know what I'm saying? And she's gonna be all right. Like, she gonna take it with a smile. Like, no,
And
no,
no,
I don't want to. Pineapple. But
no,
yes,
it don't work like that, baby. It
yeah,
sound good though. It sound
no, it
real
does.
good,
It's
but
for you.
it don't
That's
work like
right.
that,
Yeah,
baby.
no,
We,
I can't
mm-mm,
get with that. So yeah, but
mm-mm.
you're absolutely right with that culturally, and I'm pretty sure, like, I don't really know like how other cultures operate, but I know, like, for ours specifically, that is a whole thing. And like,
It
even when
is.
you start talking about therapy, you have a lot of our, older generation, and even the newer ones, like when you talk to men, they be like, "Oh, I got my homeboys," but they're not certified. How
They
they
just
gonna
as
help you?
dumb
Who
as
they
you
supposed
are. I'll be that's what I
Yeah.
tell them. I'll be like, that's the blind leading the blind,
Look at
baby. That
Thank you.
you just sound dumb saying that right there. Like your homeboy's dumb, you dumb. Baby, y'all just a bunch of dummies, just wrong with just dumb and me.
Mhm.
Okay?
Sir,
Because
speak
that's
up.
what you're doing. Like, right?
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I tell
Mhm.
people every day, even though I'm a coach, I have my own therapist. And I'm in
Yeah.
therapy every week. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Same.
And I'm not doing
Yep.
it for anybody else. I'm doing it for my own sanity. I'm doing it so I can stay on my own journey, on my own path, because it holds me accountable. It allows me
Exactly.
to get the things off of my mind and off my chest and off my heart that I can't get off or I can't release. And even
Mhm.
if I don't have anything to say, baby, I got something to say. That makes sense. Like,
Oh,
you know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying? People
Yeah.
think that, oh, I'm fixed now. I'm all right now. This, that, and the third, and this,
Mhm.
that I don't
Mhm.
need therapy no more.
Mhm.
Well, what happens is we forget that life keeps on life.
That part. Yeah. And you're
And now
constantly
we
gonna be
go
Mhm. Yeah.
exactly. We're gonna run into something somewhere someday. It might not be tomorrow, it might not
Mhm.
be the next day, but next month you're gonna run into the shit storm. You know what I'm saying? And when you run
Exactly.
into it, you need to be ready and prepared. Well, that's
Mhm.
what therapy does for me. It keeps me ready and it keeps
Mhm.
me prepared for what it
Yeah.
is that I need to do. Because I cannot I for me, I can't sit and be like, oh my goodness, I can't and wait on it. You know,
Mhm.
God says He gives us warning before the storm,
That part. Yes. Mhm.
you know, and so
Yeah.
you got to stay in it. And like I said, even if I don't have anything to say that week, I find something. You know what I'm saying? Because
Exactly.
it's probably something that's small that's holding on that I'm probably could turn into something big and major. But if I go
Mhm.
on and release it right then and there, then it is not even a problem. It's just nothing because I've already been able to talk and coach my way through that. You know what I'm saying? I've
Exactly.
already had my therapist to say, hey, baby, this is what we're doing. This is how to do it. This is how to,
Mhm.
get through that. So
Mhm.
we have to be mindful of how we do that and how we, and which way we're going because baby, stay in therapy. That's all I'm gonna say is stay
Yeah.
in
In
therapy.
therapy, it's for me, I didn't realize like how important that was to me. And I know we talked about this, before. I said, the amount of the level of trauma that I've, endured. This is just for me. Like, everybody else has their own layout and plan. But I know, like, all right, if I count the last 2, 3 relationships, That's like 6 years of trauma from somebody else. And
Exactly.
and unhealed stuff that I came into the relationships with. So,
Mhm.
hypothetically speaking, I think that it would be more beneficial to stay in for that amount of time, because for the 6 years that it took for me to accrue all that trauma plus more, it's going to take another 6 years. Like, people expect Rome to be built overnight. And
And it
then
was
it wasn't. And not to mention, also another thing that I really do appreciate about therapy is, in certain cultures, expressing and processing emotions is just not a thing. It's not a thing.
exactly.
You talked about the gag order, like that's literally what that is. That is
Mhm.
literally, I don't care what you're thinking or how you feel about it. Basically, shut up and deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And then
Exactly.
these kids are having emotional outbursts, and they're growing up and they don't know how to function, or in half the time, because I realized that, like, oh my god, I think I'm emotionally unavailable. I never thought that, but I am.
Mhm, mhm,
And
mhm.
then that
Hey, I
hurt.
was emotionally unavailable for so long. Like, I had to tell God that, Lord, if you find my husband, you're gonna have to drop him in front of me. You're gonna have to wave the flags. You're gonna have to do all kinds of stuff
Put a
because
sign
I ain't
here.
gonna know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a missing because I am literally emotionally unavailable. I am literally so focused right here that I can't
Mhm,
see on the side of me. I don't know
mhm,
what's going on over there. Like,
mhm,
because I have literally blocked all of that out
mhm.
because it's like it's it's almost like stepping outside them boundaries and you be like,
Ooh.
oh no, y'all acting a fool over here. Let me go on back over here to my side of the let me go on back over here, baby, because y'all doing the mostest over here. So
She said it is not fun outside. Okay, I don't know what
yeah,
y'all.
like
If y'all
yeah,
are
I be trying to figure out what they talk about. Every time they say we outside, we
I'm
outside,
out
I'm
there
like,
like,
girl, I
oh,
want to be
mm.
outside too, baby. As soon as I go outside, I'll be like, oh, I want to go inside. I need
Inside.
to be inside.
She said it's zero out of 10 stars. It's giving very ghetto.
Yeah.
Outside is not sighting. Like, I'm all set.
Look, I don't know who said it. I don't know why they said it, but take it back. I want to go inside. Stay inside. I am cool with it. I don't know what y'all got going on outside, but baby,
She said, y'all
mm-mm.
keep that.
Yeah,
Mm.
I don't want no parts of that. I don't want no. I don't want no parts of that, baby. I'm cool over here. I'll stay over
Yes.
here on my side of the fence, baby. I'm gonna
Mhm.
sit on the porch. I ain't
Yeah.
even gonna get off of it. I'm
Not
cool.
the stoop, baby. How y'all doing? Go on now. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna stay on the porch, honey. Look,
Oh
I
my
know when
god.
not to jump off the porch, and this is one time that, baby, I can't jump off, and I'm gonna stay.
Mhm.
I'm gonna stay right here, baby. I'm
Yeah.
too old for this.
Listen, my endurance is not what it used to be, so I be
Okay, okay.
no. Ooh, can't do it.
I'm cool on it. Thank you, though. Thank you, though.
Oh my goodness. All right. So what inspired you to speak openly about your experience now?
I got tired of being silent. I got tired of it being my fault and being the blame.
Yeah.
And I had to ask God, let me tell you something, because I'm not good with talking about me. Okay. I can talk about everything under the sun. I can talk about books all day. I can tell you about what I do and all of that. But when it comes to telling you my personal business,
Mm,
that is just not in my nature. Like, that's
mm,
not something that I like to do. That's not my comfortable spot. You know, some people can talk about they want to tell all their business and put it all out there and all
mm,
this stuff. That's just not me. But
mm,
God said it's your time. It's
mm.
time for you to start speaking up and telling your story because you're watching it happen to so many. And right now, you need, if you can save one, you've done what I've called you to do. And
Exactly.
so I have to shatter the silence. For me, I don't want to break the silence, because when you break something, you can put it back together and form it back together. Now it ain't gonna be perfect. It ain't gonna be all as pretty as it was, but you can still
Exactly.
put it back together. When
Mhm.
you shatter something, all you can do is sweep it up and throw it away, honey, because it ain't no coming back from that. And that's where
Exactly.
I am in my life, because I found my freedom. I found my peace. And when you can find your freedom and your peace, it's easy to talk about you. It's easy to talk about your trauma and what you've been through, because I no longer reside there anymore, because
Yes.
I've learned how to heal that part of me.
Mhm.
And so now I speak very freely of it. I'm not afraid to say what I felt and how I felt about it, what was happening in the midnight hours and things like that, and how I was being beat on and things like that. I'm not afraid to say, yes, this is what happened and this is what I felt. I'm not afraid to say, yes, he told me he would kill my family. For me, I didn't want him to kill my family. What is an 8-year-old supposed to know? And why would they not think that you would hurt them or hurt their family? What, come on. That makes
Yes.
absolutely no sense. And as adults, y'all are dumb as hell to think that an 8-year-old
It's
is
gonna make
gonna
sense.
understand that somebody's not gonna hurt their family. And if they say, be quiet, this is what you need to do, or so I'll kill you all, they're gonna do that,
Mhm.
because we don't know, especially at 8 years old. Y'all don't know at 30 and 40 and 50-year old, if somebody tell you they gonna kill you, that they won't. You're not guaranteed that, because guess what?
Yes.
I've seen people say, hey, I will kill you dead. And you be
Mhm.
like, man, go about your business. I stop playing. And then boom, you wake up dead.
Right. Right. And nobody's really, I mean, at the end of the day, we're not gonna test someone's bluff neither. Like, we're like, oh, you're
Exactly.
joking around. So as an adult, you know what I'm saying? Like, totally, totally.
Exactly. So y'all up here blaming these babies for some stuff that an adult is saying, and for them to feel like they're protecting their family, and for you to blame them is really, you need some therapy. You need some help. Like, you need to go through to overcome your trauma and your demons and your whatever, your skeletons that you're holding in, because at the end of the day, no 8-year-old should have to experience that. Nobody under 8 years old should have to experience that. Nobody over 8 should have to experience that, but it happens, and it's happening frequently. And it's by our uncles, our aunts, our moms, our dads, the preachers, the pastors. You know what I'm saying? The school teachers. Like, we are not fit to keep acting like this ain't happening. And we're, oh, shh, shh, shh. No, well, we're shattering the silence. And Lady V, don't mind speaking up that, hey, this right here has to stop. Enough is enough.
And that really goes to like that there's a level of shame I think that happens in a family when, crimes like that happen against children, and how, the first thought process is to protect
Mm-hmm.
the offender. You know what I'm saying? And that's always how I
Exactly.
take it as a child. You know what I'm saying? You want to cover it up and act like it didn't happen, and maybe don't tell everybody, because really what it boils down to is what will people think of our family? You know,
Exactly.
they,
Exact. That
you know,
is the main key.
mhm,
What will somebody else think of our family?
yeah,
And in reality, the question is, why you think they ain't already thinking that now?
exactly, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We
Especially,
be so worried about the stuff that don't
yeah,
even matter.
yeah,
When in reality, people is thinking that probably of you right now as we speak. They looking down on you and everything and talking about you like a dog and all that kind of stuff. But you so worried about what other people think. And they
exactly.
already thinking like that. So what different does it matter?
Hmm.
First of all, be as adults, we're supposed to protect our children.
Exactly, exactly. And I think there are women that don't even know how to do that or what that looks like. So like would you mind like giving some insight into like how okay, how would you go about it or how would you kind of guide someone that doesn't have those resources? And it's crazy because I know someone somewhere is going to be like, oh, that's basic, that's simple, but really like some people are so generationally flawed that they wouldn't even know. So that's why I proposed the question in case
Hey,
anyone got to say.
right. And I definitely understand. And the first thing you have to do is you have to release these traumas, which means that I advise that you write it down. In my course, I actually do a assignment and it's called release the balloons. And what it is you actually put all the stuff and write all the things that you need to release down. Because a lot of times we don't think that we need to release anything, and we got a whole bunch of stuff we need to release. A lot of
Right.
times we want to just touch simple things that's on the surface, that surface stuff. And we don't want to touch the bottom of the barrel, the sticky stuff, the stuff that we really need to touch. Well, guess
Right.
what? In my course, I teach individuals how to do that because in order for you to really grow, you got to break. You actually have to dig deep and pull all of that out because if you don't, you ain't growing. You just sweeping that up under the rug and that's going right up under the pile with the rest of the stuff that you holding on to. And so
Exactly.
you want to act like you're gaining your freedom and you're gaining your peace. You're not. Because until you literally touch everything and every aspect and actually take accountability, which accountability means acknowledgement, and acknowledgement means that we're healing. Because until you acknowledge these things, you can't heal these things.
Mhm.
See, you can't go past any. You can't even go to the next steps in life of how to properly heal until you release, until
Mhm.
you learn how to release, which means that you're learning how to release the old narratives, the old baggage, the limited beliefs. All of these things take time. It's not just something you just woke up and I just, oh, okay, yep, I'm done today. No, no. And so let me tell you something. I tell people I had to go through my list 3 different occasions, 3 different times just to release everything because there was some things when I did it the first time. I'm just like everybody else. I wrote what I wanted to write. I didn't want to be honest with me, even though I knew it was some deeper things that needed to be healed. I didn't write
Mhm.
them down. Well, then when I got a little bit stronger on the second time, I wrote those things down. You know what I'm saying? Not everything, but I wrote those things down. Well, on
Yeah.
the third time, I was looking like, you know what, V? Stop playing yourself. Stop playing yourself because you know deep down that this ain't all that it is. You got this sticky stuff down here in the bottom of the barrel. This is the stuff that's hurting you the most that you really don't want to touch. But guess what? How you going to gain your freedom if you don't touch it? And so guess
Exactly.
what? I had to write it down on that list. And then
Mhm.
I took it and I didn't do everything at once because it was hard. But I took one thing out of a time and I accepted it, I acknowledged it, and then I fixed it.
Mhm.
And once I did those 3 things, I was able to heal and release it
Mhm.
because I started to forgive me. See, we can't get to forgiveness until we start to heal. And that was the thing. It was these things that were still holding me captive. And why was they holding me captive? Because I could not forgive. I
Mm.
didn't want to forgive them because I didn't feel like they deserved to be forgiven.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something, honey. when that message comes slap you in the face,
Mhm.
you got to stare at it and look at it. And he asked me one simple question. What if I decide that today, Tavana, I don't want to forgive you?
Mm. Yeah.
Everybody have that same reaction. Because that's how I did. I was like, it was a slap in the face. What
Mhm.
if he say today, I'm not forgiving you for your sins. And then I die.
Mm.
Do
Yeah.
I go to
That's
heaven? Do I go to hell?
yeah.
You know, he said, forgive those who trespass against us.
Mhm.
That was the hardest thing for me to do, but I had to. And once I forgave them and then I forgave myself, I actually didn't realize how much freedom I actually really had. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What is this?
Yeah.
Hold on. I mean, I woke up and I just was like,
Absolutely.
I said,
Yeah.
am I free? What's
Yeah.
going on here? I was confused, but it was
Mhm.
such a good feeling that I had to just wake up, and I just was like, you know what? I'm free. And I
Mhm.
knew it. I knew that I was finally free from me. I was finally free from the hurt. I was finally free from my trauma. I was finally free from my pain. I was finally free from my past. I was finally free, but I had to go through some steps to get there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And even though I was rebuilding and rebranding who I was, I still was having to release throughout this stage. I was still
Mhm.
having to do these things because I was being stubborn because I didn't want to do that. And so, hey, some of us, takes a little longer than others. And
Exactly.
I'm guilty because I'm stubborn and I wanted to do it my way. But I
Mhm.
had to realize that guess what? My way ain't the best way. And when
Mhm.
God tells us his plan, he has a plan for all of us.
Mhm.
And his plan is the best plan. My grandmother used to tell me, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, because he got a sense of humor. And boy, babe, I have found out and learned along this journey that she was absolutely right. He definitely got a sense of humor, because every
Yeah.
time I try to
Yeah.
make a plan to do it my way,
Mhm.
not the way it's supposed to be done, not the way God is asking me to do it, but I try to do it my way, baby, he laugh and say, go ahead. And baby, I'll be doing it and making a mockery and a mess and all kinds of stuff. Girl, it looked like a whole 2-year-old done created something that ain't
Yeah.
beautiful at all. Just some
You ready
catastrophe.
to listen
You know?
now? You ready?
Right.
I love the way you put
Exactly.
that. And with with writing down the things that we have to release, I totally align with that because I feel like when it comes to like any level of shadow work, I call that shadow work, like just taking inventory of baggage that you're holding on to that you don't need
Exactly.
anymore. And I
Exactly.
told you I journal every night, and it's like when I do it, I write it as if someone else is gonna read it, and I'm like, why do
Mm-hmm.
I do that? Like making sure that it's like ready for copyright and everything, like you know what I'm saying? Like, just in case. But I know where that comes from. It comes from a violation of privacy two pivotal
Mm-hmm.
times in my life. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, okay, I'm, in my late 30s, still, journaling as if, someone's gonna come and take a peek inside of my, my most private thoughts. But
Hey,
yeah.
I understand. I mean, and you never know who will, because, baby, I've had more journals tore up, burnt up, flipped up, cut up, baby. That is when I realized that the words that I say are very powerful. I
Yeah.
did not know that, but because I was so angry that you tore up my journal, that you tore up my private thoughts, and why are you reading my private thoughts and this and that and this
Exactly.
and that? But it made me realize that, wow, the words that I say is impactful,
Hmm.
because they know that the truth will set you free. And
Yeah.
and a lot of times when we have to look at the truth, we be like, what? And sometimes we get angry at the truth because
Yeah.
it is we have to look at ourselves through somebody else's eyes.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't they're not comfortable with that at all. Like,
Mm-mm,
I think
mm-mm.
that is probably the by far the hardest thing that many people, will ever have to do. And I've been guilty of that too before, you know what I mean? Like, as far as getting defensive, like, what? No, I'm please manipulative. No. But I'm like,
Guilty.
okay, all right, so all right. let me think about this and actually reflect. Okay, maybe you might have been right there. Maybe I can be a little, manipulative. I'm sorry. you know, but it takes a strong person to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like a very
Exactly.
self-aware person, because a lot of people will never, they like to shift that accountability off into, you know what I'm saying? Like they're like, ooh, I don't like it. Here.
Yeah.
you have, you know.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. It's the blame. It's just shifting the blame back to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh
now
yeah.
you want to tell everybody in America how bad I am and how, you know what I'm saying, I just disrespected you and cussed you out. And probably ain't said nan cuss word at all, but
Mhm.
cussed you out though. You know what I'm saying? And I just went all overboard and probably ain't did none of that. But that's how they saw it, because
Yeah.
it was that traumatic for them that they had to actually see themselves through
Yeah.
somebody else's eyes in that
Exactly.
particular light.
Exactly. And it hurts, it's an ego breaker that will literally cause an ego death
Oh
faster
yeah.
than anything else.
Oh yes,
I,
for sure. For
I've
sure.
been known to cause a few of those in my time.
Hey, I call myself the toe cruncher, baby, because I do know how to crunch on some people's toes, baby.
I
Who I know
know.
how to crunch on your toes and don't even worry about it. Just tear them all up.
She said, "You be all right. You be all
Yeah,
right." So I was going to ask you, when you talked about healing and basically the feeling of, knowing that you've finally been able to forgive. And I'm going to use this in the same context, forgive but don't forget. How do you feel about that? Like, do you struggle with that, or is that something that you've kind of evolved past? Or
Oh yeah, I done evolved way past that. For me, I didn't I had to forgive, but I never forget. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And you'll never forget it. But you
yeah,
have to learn how to forgive and move past it, because a lot of times we say we forgive, but then we're stuck in that. And so when it raises its head and when it triggers or something else happen, we're like, ah, ah, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And then you be like,
yeah.
well, wait a minute. I thought you
Like,
you said I was forgiven for that. And how are now this is
we're
how
back
you feel.
here.
And wait.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? How do we get here again? You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? If you forgave. And so we have to really learn how to forgive and let go,
mhm.
not forget, but to
Yeah,
let go.
yeah.
Because if you're not going to let it go, then you ain't forgiven.
Mhm,
You haven't forgiven that person.
mm,
For me, even the people that's hurt me in my trauma and things that I love them. I love them with everything that I got. But I love them from way over there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like,
ooh, I know it.
yeah. And I don't have no hard feelings with you. I just don't fool with you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I
yeah,
cannot put that in my circle. I cannot put that in my area. Those are my boundaries. And so
exactly.
I am very strict with my boundaries. I don't care what your boundaries are. But if
Mhm.
you come over here bringing your toxicity over here to my boundaries, now we got a whole big problem. You know what I'm saying? So, you
Yes.
know, so I had to learn that. So yes,
Mhm,
I had to learn how to forgive and
mhm.
forget, or
Yeah,
forgive and let go, but
yeah,
not
yeah,
forget, but for be
mhm,
able to forget enough to the
yeah,
point where I'm not holding on to it, still
yeah.
making it traumatizing for me.
Oh, yeah.
Where now I'm free to share my story. And as you see, I can tell my story like it ain't nobody's business. And baby, I
Mhm,
could care less. I don't care what people think. I don't care what people say. I don't care about how people feel. I don't care about
mhm.
anything, because it's not your story. This is my
Exactly,
story. This is
exactly.
my life. It happened to me. It didn't happen to you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And even though you want to put yourself in it as if, oh, it was me and it was me. No, it didn't happen to you, baby. You was just there,
Exactly.
but it didn't happen to you.
Mhm,
See? And so, and if you wasn't protecting me and helping me, it didn't happen to you.
mhm.
And that's just how I
Yeah,
feel. You wasn't
you got
there.
to be an observer of
You was
this.
there, but you wasn't there. Yeah,
Exactly.
so we're not gonna do that either. So I just have learned how to just, again, forgive and let go. Hey,
Mhm,
God say, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. And we have to understand that a lot of times the trauma that we go through, baby, we going through it. But you
Yeah.
better know that the people that cause this trauma, baby, they going through something worse. We don't have to see it. We don't have to think it. We don't have to know it. But I promise you, it's something going on in their household with their health, with their mental. All of
Mm-hmm.
these things play a mind because guess what? They got to hold that too.
Mm-hmm.
See, what they gotta hold that because they know that it happened, even if they don't want to admit to it.
Yes.
And so, guess what? I'm free, baby. Now it's your turn. What they say, it
Yeah.
ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. You
Oh,
know what
that's
I'm
right.
saying?
Yes.
For real. So now
Yes.
I'm free because I learned how to heal me. I learned how to heal properly.
Mhm.
And that's because God was guiding me. He was taking me through because I didn't have no support system. I didn't have nobody saying, hey, baby, let me help you through this. I didn't have nobody
Mhm.
saying, hey, let me guide you along. No, I didn't have that. I had people take it, using my vulnerability, doing this, doing that, needed me for this, needed me for that, taking me for this, taking me for that, just pulling me every which way. And I had lost me. But I had to find out who I could really trust.
Mhm.
And then I learned that there was only one person that I can trust. And when I learned how to start trusting in God and stop trusting in man, my life started to be a little bit easier. I was like, well, look at that.
Mhm.
Wow, that's all I had to do.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Here I am thinking that I need man. And in reality, I only needed one man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that divine alignment that we were talking about. It's like the moment that you wake up and answer that call, is this the exact moment that everything starts kind of like pushing in the way for you. Not like blocking, but like opening. Like everything literally starts opening for you. It's like the universe
Exactly.
is literally working on your behalf.
And it
But
was.
it can only happen when you answer that call. You can't just
Exactly.
watch the phone ring and be like, I'm gonna get it later. And then be like, all
Baby,
right,
do you know how many times I hit the snooze button on that
yeah,
call?
yeah, yeah,
I looked at the call ID and said, wait a minute, I'll get back to you.
yeah. You're like, all right, we're gonna catch you in about 2 years. See how we'll
Yeah,
check it in 2 years, honey.
yeah,
How's
yeah,
that?
yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone that's experienced kind of like the same life path trauma, from the trauma to or haven't yet started healing yet? What advice would you give to them?
First of all, get a coach. Get a therapist, but get a coach.
Mhm.
And this is why I say, because first of all, coaches and therapists, we run on the same line, but we ain't the same. Okay.
Mhm. We are not.
And yeah, we're not the same. I want people to know this. We are definitely not the same. Okay. Because therapists let y'all hum it through it. And, they just listen and they give
Mhm.
you yes, and they might give you a little bit, and they're gonna give you some medicines that you could take and all this other stuff. Bye bye. Let me tell you, some coaches, we ain't fit to do that. We gonna give you the raw to honest to God truth. We just, some of us a little rawer than others. Some coaches is a little softer because they want,
Yeah.
they want to give you that. Well, baby, I ain't that coach. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
the coach that's gonna make sure that you heal because it's easy to get caught up in our trauma
Yeah.
and stay there. And so I say, get you a coach, somebody that will hold you accountable for what it is that you're trying to do for you. Because if you don't have no accountability partners, you will fail every time.
I
Because
promise.
who gonna hold you accountable for
Mhm.
what you said? Guess
Mhm.
what? I got a whole team, baby. I got a prayer warriors, baby. They know how to pray for me. They know how to scold me. They know
Mhm.
how to lift me. They know how to push me. All of these things, you know what I'm saying? And that
Yes.
is what I need. I
Mhm.
needed these things so that I can actually roar in my greatness, so that I can walk in my greatness. Because for so long, I didn't think I was worthy. I didn't think that I was enough. And even though God was telling me, I chose you, girl. I don't care about what they talking about. I chose
Exactly.
you personally. I handpicked you myself.
Mhm.
But because they had told me that I wasn't enough, I was like, God, why me? So many times we asked ourselves that one question: why me? God
Yeah.
said, why not you?
Mm.
Why not you? I'm grooming you. I'm prepping you for where you trying to go, for where you gonna be. You have to trust the process, which means that sometimes we gotta go through the pain. What they say, no pain, no gain.
That's right. Mhm.
We have to go through it to get to where we want to be. Because if it was so easy, everybody be doing it, and then it don't last long. You know, as a high price cowgirl, that's I'm gonna say that's a high price cowgirl. I can tell you it don't last long, baby. Money
Mm.
that
Yeah.
baby, it comes just like that, and
Mhm.
boom, just like that, it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've
Mhm.
lived the high, and I've lived the lowest of the lowest.
Mhm.
And so now I'm like, Lord, I just want to do it your way. I just want to do it your way because I'm tired of being in my own way. And so I suggest and I encourage you to get somebody who really will hold you accountable, who really wants to walk the journey with you. They're not just out for the money because you got a lot of coaches who's just in it for the money. You got some coaches who's just there because for the numbers and the followers and things like that. You got some people who just there because they want to say that they help somebody or somebody took their course or what they class or that you was a client or whatever, or they just looking for your testimony. But guess what? If it ain't helping you, it ain't no good for you.
Right.
And so actually pick and choose that person who's going to guide you through your journey, that's going to help you and hold your hand and say, guess what? It's going to be okay. We will get through this. You know what I'm saying? It ain't my problem. It ain't my journey. But guess
Mhm.
what? I'm going to walk with you. I'm going to walk with you and I'm going to hold your hand through it because I want to see you succeed in your
Exactly.
journey. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I have a whole course. It's called Awaken the Rebel Within. Release, rebuild, rebrand your voice. It's a 21-week program. But at the end of the day, for 21 weeks, I'm holding your hand.
Yeah.
I'm walking with you through this program. I'm not just saying, here's the assignments, here's the work, go do it.
Mhm.
No, you can never get that. You can never receive what you need from that. And so we dig deep. I hold you accountable. I pray with you. I pray for you. I got a whole team behind me that I make sure prays for each and every last person that's in my course.
Yeah.
This is what we need because prayer changes things. It's power in prayer. And so get a coach. Don't be afraid. And don't let nobody tell you that you don't need coaching or you don't need no therapist or you don't need this or that. People don't know what you need for you. I say do
Exactly.
what's best for you and don't worry about the rest. Because guess what? Don't nobody know what's best for Lady V but me and God.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly. So, can you just tell everyone before we wrap up where they can find you via your website, your social media, and then also know that it will be linked in the description box down below. If you guys are looking for coaching services, accountability, all of that.
Yes. So you can find me at www.linktree, Lady VENP. So E as in Elliot, N as in Nancy, P as in Paul. So Elliot Night Professionals. That's my link. And so you can find me at any of those. And everything that you need to know about me is definitely on that link tree. From even this podcast will also be on there as well. So you can always tune in and catch it and support. And anything, if you want to book a one-on-one with me, it is free. It is a free consultation that you can book with me to see that if this is something that you really want to do and see how I can help you along your journey. Because this isn't an easy process, but it's definitely a process that's worth it because it's life changing. And when you make that final step for you, that means that you're winning because you chose you finally, which a lot of times we don't. And so that's where you can find me, www.linktree, Lady VENP. Book your free
Okay.
consultation.
Well, I really enjoyed having you on the show. I appreciate you so very much. You guys make sure to check out the link in the description box down below. You'll be able to find Lady B there. And until next time, okay, bye.
Oh, wait, one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, one more thing before you close me. I forgot to tell everybody that because you guys was watching this podcast today, if you mention rebel, that is the code word, you will actually receive 15% off the actual program. But you gotta say rebel because you saw this one. Because this the only way you can see it is if you're watching some podcast that I am on, and at the end, the word is rebel. Okay, so be a rebel. I'll see you. Thank you.